Sisters and brothers, thank you for that warm welcome. President Saunders, Secretary Treasurer Reyes, my good friend Bill Lucy, sisters and brothers, it is a great privilege to bring greetings to your 41st International Convention on behalf of CUPE, the Canadian Union of Public Employees. Our two unions share a long-standing relationship. Your former president, Dr. Arnold Zander, brought solidarity greetings to CUPE's founding convention 51 years ago in 1963 in Winnipeg, my hometown. President Zander spoke 51 years ago about a shrinking globe and the need for public employees to be organized. He predicted that day that both AFSCME and CUPE had tremendous potential to organize and grow. On that day in 1963, your union was 250,000 members strong. CUPE had 60,000 members. 51 years later, President Zander's vision has been realized. Your membership sits at 1.6 million members, the largest AFL-CIO affiliate. CUPE has almost 630,000 members, the largest union in Canada, and the growth of our unions has created the middle class in both of our countries. Well over 2 million public employees providing needed public services to the citizens that we serve. Let me begin these brief remarks by giving voice to the over 2.2 million members of AFSCME and CUPE by saying, we are proud public employees, proud of the work that we do and the communities that we live in. Our vision for our communities includes quality public services and good jobs with decent wages and pensions for all workers. Ours is a vision for fairness, equality, and dignity for all workers, and we will not be silenced by the radical right, by the corporations. And we vow to defend our rights and to increase our efforts to pursue social justice for all Canadians, for all Americans, and for workers throughout the world. Your convention theme, bold, brave, and determined, speaks to the challenge that all unions need to face. Your theme today, working with our allies to build power in working families, is in fact the only way forward. No union, including ours, can grow and prosper if we look inward, if we put our heads down and we hope that we aren't noticed, we aren't laid off, we aren't privatized into a nightmarish minimum wage, no benefit, no pension job. The way forward begins by recognizing the realities facing the public sector in both Canada and the United States. 25 years of privatization, deregulation, and free trade have seen both our countries shed millions of manufacturing jobs. The decline in union density in the private sector in both Canada and the United States has had huge consequences for workers, both union and non-union. In both of our countries, we know that the middle class shrinks, inequality increases when union density declines. We know that the pensions of public employees are under attack and that fewer and fewer private sector workers have any sort of pension coverage. The real pension issue in Canada and the United States is not that public employees have workplace pensions. The real issue is the fact that too many workers in our countries have no pension coverage, and we vow to fight for all workers to have fair and decent pensions. I watched with great interest the debate you just had. In both of our countries, we have large portions of our labor force occupied by foreign workers, by immigrants. In my country, they're called temporary foreign workers, and they're brought in with few, if any, rights. Here in your country, some people call them illegal immigrants. By some estimates, over 11 million workers. Some see them as a threat. I view them as workers and allies. Both of our countries, both Canada and the United States, by global standards, are young countries. Both are strong democracies with diverse populations made up by waves upon waves of immigration throughout our respective histories. Our unions must stand together for all workers, including immigrant workers, and say with one voice, if a worker is good enough to work every day, to pay taxes, to contribute to their communities, then it's damn well good enough for them to aspire to full citizenship in Canada and the United States. We don't accept second-class citizens in our country. We want corporate America and corporate Canada to stop exploiting foreign workers. And as committed trade unionists, which is what each of you are, as committed trade unionists, we must support full labor rights, full citizenship rights for all foreign workers in both Canada and the United States. While we face many external challenges, including the courts, right-wing think tanks, corporate power, ideologically driven right-wing politicians, we have a greater challenge than any of these things, in my view. That is membership and citizen apathy. Members who don't vote, CUPE members who don't vote, who don't participate in the affairs of their union, and they don't know what their union stands for. In the internet age, the age of 1,000 channels, Facebook, Twitter, an almost unlimited capacity to communicate, I would argue that workers in America and Canada are less informed than they were 100 years ago in terms of working class consciousness. And our impact as workers, ask yourself this question: is our impact as workers on the political agenda greater today or less today than it was 100 years ago? 108 years ago, a famous author, Upton Sinclair, wrote a book about this city's meatpacking industry. The jungle exposed working class poverty, hopelessness, health violations, and the grossly unsanitary nature of Chicago's huge meatpacking industry. The book made an immediate impact. The president, your president, in 1906 said, radical action must be taken to do away with the effort of arrogant and selfish greed on the part of the capitalist. That was the President of the United States, a Republican president, Theodore Roosevelt. What happened after the publishing of that book? The Meat Inspection Act, the Pure Food and Drug Act, the forerunners to today's Food and Drug Administration, were passed within 6 months of the release of Sinclair's book. Can you imagine your current Congress even questioning industry let alone passing legislation within a 6-month period. Much has changed in our countries in the past 100 years, but it hasn't all been progress. Inequality is on the rise, and the middle class is shrinking in both of our countries. The way forward for CUPE and the Canadian labor movement is our Fairness Works initiative, revamping our image and not letting our enemies solely define us. That commercial is one of many where all 55 affiliates of the Canadian Labour Congress are pooling our resources, and we're going to shape our image and not let the right do it. And secondly, reconnecting with our members. In CUPE's case, 630,000 one-on-one conversations, reorganizing the organized, if you will. This reconnecting with our members seems to me to be what your voluntary member organizer program is all about. When I looked at your website 2 weeks ago and I read the words of Nana Nash, she is a care coordinator in Portland, Oregon. She's an active AFSCME VMO. She tells the story about knocking on doors to sign up Fair Share members to become full-fledged union members. She talks about how nervous she was on her first Saturday. What did she accomplish on that first Saturday in Portland, Oregon? She went to 5 homes and she signed up 5 members. 5 out of your 90,000 members. She said on your website, I listened a lot. And it seems to me, whether it's a Canadian public employee or an American AFSCME member, our members have not gone over to the other side. There's just too much of a space between our active members and our rank and file members. And Nana and all of the VMOs that were on this stage and all that are not here across America are narrowing the gap and strengthening your union. And I thank Nana and I thank all VMOs. You're making AFSCME stronger. How President Saunders and I have met a couple of times in the last couple of years, and we've talked about how we can work together on pensions, on fighting privatization, on forming large and effective coalitions. Well, one way we can work together is with some random acts of solidarity. 1 week from today, I plan to be on the Ambassador Bridge. I will start on the Windsor, Ontario side, and we will be heading over to Detroit. Why are we going to Detroit next Thursday? Members of Council 25, Local 207 know the answer to this question. We have in this great, large American city over half the citizens delinquent in their water bills and having their water turned off. The highest water rates in America. A city that's been decimated by corporate greed. And the answer is not to turn off people's taps. So we will walk over the Ambassador Bridge for 3 reasons. Number 1, we say stop the turnoffs of water. Water's a human right. You shouldn't turn off the taps of any citizen. Number 2, we will walk across the Ambassador Bridge to say, don't privatize water workers' jobs in Detroit. We stand with AFSCME. And there's a third group we will speak to next Thursday. We will walk across the Ambassador Bridge, Canadians, into Detroit, and we will lock arms with municipal retirees and say, notwithstanding bankruptcy laws, leave the pensions of Detroit municipal workers alone. We stand with Detroit workers. Next week, I'm a Detroit worker. Next week, I'm not a CUPE member. I'm putting on a new shirt next week. I'm going to Detroit. I'm an AFSCME member. We're going to stand with the workers of Detroit. Don't turn off the water. Don't privatize. Leave their pensions alone. Together, we're stronger when we work together. Now, I've been dying to ask you a question. Since President Saunders asked me to come here, I've been dying to ask you one question. The delegates from Wisconsin know the answer to this question. It's the first time I saw this question asked was in Madison on a cold March day, standing on the steps of your state capitol in Madison. Canadian trade unionists supporting AFSCME members and other members being attacked by Governor Scott Walker. This question has gone throughout Canada. I first saw it in Wisconsin. And the question was, and I don't know if you all know the answer, but you gotta tell me the answer. Wisconsin will help you. Tell me what democracy looks like. They can't hear you in Madison. Tell me what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. I say union, you say power. Union. Union. I say worker, you say power. Worker. Worker. I say CUPE, you say power. CUPE. CUPE. I say AFSCME, you say power. AFSCME. AFSCME. Have a great convention. You're a great union. You got a friend in CUPE.
Lean on me.